How to Save the Taj Mahal by Jeffrey Bartholet. To view the Taj Mahal far from the hawkers and crowds, I had hoped to approach it in a small boat on the Yamuna River, which flows in a wide arc along the rear of the majestic 17th century tomb. My guide, a journalist and environmental activist named Brij Khandawal, was skeptical. The river was low, he said. There may not be enough water to float a boat. But he was game. So one morning, we met in downtown Agra, a city of more than 1.4 million people. Eventually, we arrived at a spot opposite the Taj. There, we hoped to find a fisherman to take us across. We stood before a rusty coil of barbed wire, listening to chanting from the nearby shrine, trying to make out the glory of the Taj Mahal through the haze. The Indian press had been filled with reports that the latest government efforts to control pollution around the Taj are failing, and that the gorgeous white marble is deteriorating, a possible casualty of India's booming population, rapid economic expansion, and lax environmental regulations. Some local preservationists, echoing the concerns of R. Nath, an Indian historian who has written extensively about the Taj, warn that the edifice is in danger of sinking or even collapsing toward the river. They also complain that the Archaeological Survey of India, ASI, has done slipshod repair work and call for fresh assessments of the structure's foundations. The criticisms are a measure of how important the complex is to India and the world, as a symbol of historical and cultural glory, and as an architectural marvel. It was constructed of brick covered with marble and sandstone, with elaborate inlays of precious and semi-precious stones. The designers and builders, in their unerring sense of form and symmetry, infused the entire 42-acre complex of buildings, gates, walls, and gardens with unearthly grace. It combines the great rationality of its design with an appeal to the senses, says Eba Koch, author of The Complete Taj Mahal, a careful study of the monument published in 2006. It was created by fusing so many architectural traditions: Central Asian, Indian, Hindu, and Islamic, Persian, and European. It has universal appeal and can speak to the whole world. Part of the Taj Mahal's beauty derives from the story the stones embody. Though a tomb for the dead, it is also a monument to love, built by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, fifth in a line of rulers who had originally come as conquerors from the Central Asian steppes. The Mughals were the dominant power on the Indian subcontinent for much of the 16th to 18th centuries, and the empire reached its cultural zenith under Shah Jahan. He constructed the Taj, which means crown, and is also a form of the Persian word chosen, as a final resting place for his favorite wife, Arjuman Banu, better known as Mumtaz Mahal, chosen one of the palace. A court poet recorded the emperor's despair at her death in 1631 at the age of 38, after giving birth to the couple's 14th child. The color of youth flew away from his cheeks. The flower of his countenance ceased blooming. He wept so often, his tearful eyes sought help from spectacles. To honor his wife, Shah Jahan decided to build a tomb so magnificent that it would be remembered throughout the ages. For more than 15 years, he directed the construction of a complex of buildings and gardens that was meant to mirror the Islamic vision of paradise. First, he selected the perfect spot. It had to be tranquil, away from the bustle of Agra, even then a thriving commercial center. The Taj site was located along a sharp bend in the Yamuna, which slowed the movement of the water and also reduced the possibility of erosion along the riverbank. The water, moreover, provided a glistening mirror to reflect light from the marble, which changes color and tone depending on the hour, day, and season. Unable to cross the river by boat, I went to the Taj complex in the conventional manner, on foot, and then in a bicycle rickshaw. While the Taj is a testament to love, it also embodied the power of Shah Jahan himself. As the emperor's historian wrote, they laid the plan for a magnificent building and a dome of high foundation, which for its loftiness will, until the day of resurrection, remain a memorial to the sky-reaching ambition of His Majesty, and its strength will represent the firmness of the intentions of its builder. Presumably, the end of time is still a long way off, but the Taj is slowly deteriorating now. Seen up close, the marble has yellow-orange stains in many places. Some slabs have small holes where the stone has been eaten away. In a few places, chunks have fallen away from the facade. My guide, Briege, and I even found a bit of recent graffiti on the white marble platform, where two visitors, Ramesh and Bitu, had signed their names in red ink. For decades, activists and lawyers have been waging a legal battle to save the Taj Mahal from what they believe is environmental degradation. MC Mehta, currently one of India's best-known lawyers, has been at the forefront of that fight. I met him twice in New Delhi, in a half-finished office with holes in the walls and wires dangling out. The monument gives glory to the city, and the city gives glory to the monument, he tells me, exasperated that more has not been done to clean up Agra and the Yamuna River. This has taken more than 25 years of my life. I say, don't be so slow. If somebody is dying, you don't wait. When he began his campaign in the 1980s, one of Mehta's main targets was an oil refinery upwind of the Taj Mahal that spewed sulfur dioxide. Preservationists believed the plant emissions were causing acid rain, which was eating away at the stone of the monument, what Mehta calls marble cancer. Mehta petitioned the Supreme Court and argued that the Taj was important both to India's heritage and as a tourist attraction that contributed more to the economy than an oil refinery. He wanted all polluters, including iron foundries and other small industries in Agra, shut down, moved out, or forced to install cleaner technology. By 1996, 12 years after he filed the motion, the court ruled in his favor, and the foundries around Agra were closed, relocated, or, as was the case with the refinery, compelled to switch to natural gas. But for all his successes, Mehta believes there's much more to be done. The river, once such an integral component of the Taj's beauty, is a mess, to put it mildly. I visited one of the city's storm drains where it empties at a spot between the Taj Mahal and the Agra Fort, a vast sandstone and marble complex that was once home to the Mughal rulers. In addition to the untreated human waste deposited there, the drain belches mounds of litter, heaps of plastic bags, plastic foam, snack wrappers, bottles, and empty foil packets that once held herbal mouth freshener. Environmental activists have argued that such garbage dumps produce methane gas that contributes to the yellowing of the Taj's marble. There are many in Agra who believe that all the worries about the Taj are exaggerated, that far too much attention is paid to the monument at the expense of other priorities. They say the restrictions imposed upon the city's several hundred brick kilns, iron foundries, and glassworks to reduce air pollution have harmed the local economy. S.M. Kandawal, a business leader in Agra who opposed Mehta's legal campaign, has long argued that such businesses were responsible for only a tiny fraction of the fumes emitted in the city, and that the more significant polluters were vehicles and power generators. I was very angry that everyone was so concerned about the Taj Mahal and not about the livelihoods of the people of Agra, he says. Even some international experts doubt that air pollution is the prime cause of the discoloring and the pitting of the monument's marble. At least some of the yellow marks on the monument, for instance, are rust stains from iron fixtures that hold the marble slabs in place. Marissa Lorenzi Tabasso, an Italian chemist and conservation scientist, has studied the Taj Mahal on behalf of international organizations and Indian authorities. Most of the problems with the marble are not from pollution, but from climatic conditions, she says. These include heat, sunlight, and also moisture, which promotes the growth of algae, leading to biological decay of the stone. Lorenzi Tabasso says the main human impact on the monument probably occurs inside the tomb, where the moist breath of thousands of daily visitors and their oily hands rubbing the walls has discolored the marble. The main concern, however, is the Yamuna River. Some of the activists I met in Agra cited arguments made by R. Nath, who has written dozens of books on Mughal history and architecture. Nath believes that the river water is essential to maintaining the monument's massive foundation, which is built on a complex system of wells, arches, and, according to Nath, spoked wheels made of salwood. Nath and some activists worry the groundwater levels beneath the monument are falling, partly the result of a barrier that was constructed upstream to augment public water supplies. And they fear the wood may disintegrate if it isn't kept moist. Nath also believes the Yamuna River itself is part of a complicated engineering feat that provides thrust from different angles as the water wends its way behind the mausoleum. But due to the lower water level, the Yamuna now dries up for months at a time. Without that stabilizing counterforce of flowing water, the Taj has a natural tendency to slide or sink into the river, Nath says. When I asked ASI officials about the foundation, they said it was fine. ASI officials, however, declined to answer several queries about whether deep boreholes had been drilled. What would Shah Jahan make of all of it? Dixit believes he would be saddened by the state of the river, but he'd also be happy to see the crowds. Shah Jahan might even be philosophical about the slow deterioration. He had designed the monument to endure beyond the end of the world, yet the first report on record of damage and leaks came in 1652. The emperor was certainly familiar with the impermanence of things. When his beloved Taj Mahal died, a court historian wrote, "Alas, this transitory world is unstable, and the rose of its comfort is embedded in a field of thorns. In the dustbin of the world, no breeze blows which does not raise the dust of anguish, and in the assembly of the world, no one happily occupies a seat who does not vacate it full of sorrow." If the symbolic power of the Taj can be harnessed to fight for a cleaner river, cleaner air, and better living conditions, all the better. But most of the Taj Mahal's flaws don't detract from the overall effect of the monument. In some ways, the yellowing and the pocking add to its beauty, just as flaws in a handmade oriental carpet enhance its aesthetic power, or the patina on an antique piece of furniture is more valued, even with its scratches and scars, than a gleaming restoration job. Standing before the Taj Mahal, it's comforting to know that it is not, in fact, of another world. It is very much part of this ephemeral, unpredictable one we inhabit, a singular masterpiece that will likely be around for many years or even lifetimes to come, but which, despite our best efforts, cannot last forever.